Hey guys, so I wanted to give you yet another short phrase that you could use as sort of a mantra or as a means of interrupting an experience that you should not be allowing to happen when you're trying to manifest something. And that experience is sitting around ruminating or feeling overly responsible for planning how whatever it is that you want is going to come into existence. The way to know if you're doing this thing that you should stop doing is simple. It's by how it's making you feel. If you're making plans for something that you want to manifest and it's exciting and fun and you feel up about it, you'll know that that's not the wrong thing to be doing. If you start to feel dejected, frustrated, if you find yourself going around on a hamster wheel because you have only 5 visible solutions to the problem or 1 visible solution to the problem and nothing that you can come up with feels right, it's not something that you feel inspired to want to do, or, if anything about it feels wrong, here's what you need to do. You must do this. I don't know if continuing to ruminate on something actually delays its arrival, but I would imagine it does. It makes sense that it would, energetically. If this whole thing is energetic, it makes sense that if you're occupying a space that is energetically incongruent with something coming to pass in your life, that it would delay that thing actually working itself out. And so the thing to do when you're running through these plans or trying to make plans, which if you can just not do that at all, that's ideal. If you feel that frustration and you're going through all of these ways something could happen, but you're like, I don't like that one. Ooh, that one's a big unknown. I don't know how I feel about that. If you're in that headspace where you're looking at all the known solutions to the problem, stop and tell yourself firmly, a way will be made, and then divert your attention somewhere else. The manifestation process is have a clear intention, as clarify your intention as much as you can without over clarifying it, without adding details or clarifying it just for clarifying's sake. Get to a place where you have a good feeling about the clarity of your desire, and then get out of the way. What that means is put your attention elsewhere. Think about something else. Know that you have that desire and generate that sense of certainty that desire has been communicated, or whatever, however you like to think about it. Your subconscious has received the message. The universe, God, whatever, has received the message. And then get busy with other things. And then when your mind inevitably returns to the desire not having, come to fruition yet, don't sit in the state of lack. Don't focus on what you can see in front of you. Don't focus on that thing's absence. And certainly don't focus on the fact that you think it's a long shot. Don't focus on the fact that you can't see a way to it. Don't assume that whatever it is has to happen in a certain way that you don't like. Just don't think about any of that. Don't put your focus on any of that. Tell yourself firmly, a way will be made. And then go do something else. Clean your room. This is a good time to get interested in something else. If you can't get interested in something else, and if you're obsessing about this thing, that, in my opinion, generally indicates that there's some other type of issue. And an easy way to resolve that is to have an intention about that. I'm obsessing about this thing. It can't possibly be about this thing because no thing in the world is worth this amount of obsession. I want to know what the underlying problem is. I want to resolve the underlying problem that's causing this constant obsession. because I think that's affecting a lot of people in the manifesting community. There's an unhealthy fixation on whatever the thing is that they're trying to get, which is usually a person. And in my experience, which I recounted early in this channel in the first few months of making videos here, I talked about how I had that issue. I was, you know, I don't know if obsessing isn't, ruminating is really a more appropriate word for me. Like, regardless of how I intellectually felt, I would, you know, sort of unwillingly ruminate on things that had just happened, and it turned out that really I had some rewiring that needed to be done about some early childhood things. Sorry to say, nobody wants to hear this stuff, but you almost certainly became miswired somewhere in the past. And while there are a lot of different ways to address that, taking it head on was what worked for me. Being willing to look at those things and to come up with a different understanding about them was key. And it resolved a lot of that type of stuff for me. But, you know, that doesn't change the normal sort of returning to thinking about something that most people do. And I certainly, if there is a problem or an obstacle or something like that in my life, I tend to automatically return to it over and over and over again because I'm a problem solver. So if I don't see a clear way to something, it can be very frustrating. Everything else in my life, I have a, you know, a direct, active approach to. If there's something that needs to be done, I do it. If there's a problem, generally I can come up with a solution for fixing it. And as I am implementing whatever I've come up with, you know, something better will come along or more insight will show up, and things usually get done in a pretty ideal way, and they usually have a pretty good outcome for me. But when there's something that I can't do that with, it's very frustrating. And it's kind of like my brain does an auto check 5 times a day for what should I be thinking? Well, you know, I don't want to forget anything that I need to do. I'm constantly managing everything in my mind. I own a business and manage the whole thing. And so I'm just kind of programmed that way at this point to make sure that I'm not forgetting any of the 100 things that need to be done every day. And so if there's like anything that's not resolved, I'm just like, okay, what am I supposed to be doing about that today? What am I supposed to be doing about that today? And sometimes there's something where there is just nothing that I can do other than like focus on, you know, when there's an outer issue in your life and you can't do anything about it directly, or you can't see anything to do about it directly. One thing that you can always do if you're a person like me who wants to actively do things to tackle problems head on is to just turn the focus on yourself. What could I be doing to improve myself? Because everything out there is a reflection. Any positive change in yourself is going to create a shift in your own perception, which creates a shift in everything. And then sometimes these problems that have solutions that you don't like, suddenly one of the solutions seems just fine. Like maybe there was an aspect of it you were afraid of, and now you're not anymore. Or maybe there was an aspect of it that just seemed unpleasant that now you're just like, oh, I don't really care. That's fine. You know, everything shifts with your perception shifting. So a way will be made for whatever it is that you're trying to get to come into existence, even if you can't see it at all. Or even if the only thing you can come up with is a bunch of unpalatable ways forward. A more palatable or at least acceptable way to the thing will be made. Period. You have to understand that your puny human brain can only come up with so many things. All you have is what you can see around you to work with. You don't have that view from above where you can see all the way everything is coming together, how this chess piece that is 1,000 miles away will move closer and bump into this thing and nudge it to the place it needs to go in order to bump you where you need to go. You just can't see that. It's very difficult to accept that. That's part of the work of getting good with the manifestation stuff, is starting, I think, to rationally at least accept that you cannot see 99.9% of the possibilities. You just can't. You know, and you also, from your vantage point, don't have the ability to choreograph it all. You just have to have some faith that something is choreographing it. And I don't know if that is God or if it's your energy affecting other energy. You know, I think there was something that happened last year. I can't remember now. Maybe it was 2 years ago, where some people won a Nobel Prize for figuring out that, like, I can't remember the details of this. Just that particles are non-local or something like that. Basically, it doesn't matter how far apart things are, they can communicate with each other. I'm really butchering this a lot. You can just look it up. It was like not in the last 2 years. Stuff like that is being scientifically proven. So how much is there that we don't know about how all this works? I think you just have to start to rely on that, and it's really difficult to have faith in the unknown. It's probably the most challenging thing of all. So, but it's necessary. And these little interrupters that you come up with, these like little perspective shifters, or things that can just stop a thought process dead in its tracks, they're invaluable. I rely on them all the time. I think you should have the intention to resolve the underlying cause of any sort of repetitive behavior, because it's my personal opinion that nearly every negative emotion is coming from just a deep sense of insecurity and fear that is just there in every human being. And it's like where everything comes from. And so I think the overall intention should be to get rid of that. I don't know if that's possible, but to become more deeply secure in whatever this hologram, whatever this simulation experience is. That's the cure-all that seeps into every single aspect of your life. It's the most rewarding thing. But in the meantime, when you have something that you really want and you're ruminating on it, stop. Yell in your head if you have to. A way will be made. Go clean your room. Go play a video game. Go do some work. Go to the gym. Go for a walk. Go call somebody and talk about something else. Go read a book. You know, go surf the internet, I guess. I don't know if that's super healthy. Don't go on social media. But anyway, that interrupter should help you to mentally go back on track. Esther Hicks, I love the way she talks about the negative momentum of thoughts getting out of control, and how the way to stop that is to lay on the floor and turn on white noise like a fan and just listen to it for like 15 minutes. Just keep bringing your mind back to the fan noise. And that stops this momentum of these thoughts heading in the wrong direction. Who really knows how that stuff affects the outcome or the speed or timing? No one really knows if it does or not, as far as I know. But it does return you to equilibrium. It returns you to, hopefully, the point where you can regenerate that feeling of certainty about whatever it is, the feeling of knowing about whatever it is you're trying to do. So, a way will be made even if you cannot see it. Period. Have a good day.